Hello and welcome to another episode of Wednesdays with WV. This is a mind boggling week for the simple reason it's an action packed week. There's cricket all over the world and at all levels, starting with your local leagues in the TNPL to the Duleep Trophy to the India versus West Indies series, the Women's Ashes series, the Men's Ashes series. Oh, it's absolutely chockers. So there are a lot of things to talk about, but as usual, we've picked up a select few topics on which to focus on, and I'm sure that you'll enjoy as this episode unfolds. It is very interesting as it has been in this entire series so far. The only thing was that the pressure was on England. They needed to win to stay in the series and also keep their hopes alive. But as far as the cricket was concerned, it was as usual really exciting. It was entertaining as well. But it also has to be noted that when there was a little bit of help for the bowlers at Leeds, the scores are on the lower side. Yes, we can always say people like to watch cricket where result is produced, but we'll also like to watch prolonged phases of brilliance from individual players as well. And that is what will perhaps make you come back to Test cricket and also remember performances under tough conditions a lot longer than you would otherwise remember. But be that as it may, the Test match was fascinating. England did obviously well enough in the second innings to ensure that they did not have to chase a huge target. And it was nip and tuck, even almost with about 50 odd runs to go. But the bowlers did well for England, especially Chris Oakes. He's always made his impact whenever he played for England. It makes you wonder why he's not such a regular feature for England. But again, it's all about people contributing at the right time, and Chris Oakes is one of them who does things really well when it really matters. And the other fascinating aspect of the Leeds Test match was the real hostile stuff from Mark Wood. He showed what exactly fast bowling is all about, and the fact that he was quick and he was also able to exploit the conditions made him a formidable force to reckon with, and that's the reason he's picked up the 5-4. And it's going to be interesting for the England team management come the next Test match, what it is that they need to do, how's it they want to go about it. But as far as the Leeds Test was concerned, I think they have somewhat pulled back the psychological advantage that Australia was running away with almost. On that front, I think the entire England team as well as the team man will be really happy. I don't think Australia will do things in the middle of a series because both Labuschagne and Warner are proven performers for Australia over a long period of time. But the thing is that what is perhaps been overlooked in all these razzmatazz that we've been attracted by, this baseball, the excitement of close test matches, and all the other things that go with it, the drama that went with it in the first two test matches. I think what is perhaps overlooked was a few instances where the batters got out due to very poor shot selection and also due to poor skills rather. So I think that is something that everybody's overlooked. Even in the Leeds test, there were a few soft dismissals, especially that of Joe Root and Ben Stokes rather. So it's a case of this mirage that is being created is perhaps making us overlook the basic core of Test cricket, which is making the bowlers work for their wickets. I don't think that is perhaps happening all the time in the Ashes. But to answer specifically to the question, I think Labuschagne and Warner will continue to play. But let's not forget the fact that Koja has been in terrific form for a long period of time for them. And then Mitch Marsh has come good. And then, of course, we have Travis Head who can really get you runs under pressure. He's coming of age and he's learning to overcome pressure and get runs under pressure. Of course, Alex Carey is also doing really well for them. So I don't think Australians will be necessarily worrying about their batting and the lack of form of Warner and Labuschagne. But what will perhaps worry them is the fourth seamer slot there. think Boland was not as effective as they thought he would be. And with Nathan Lyon not being there, I think it's a case of Australia having bowling worries than batting worries. Baseball obviously is something that is very exciting, and England will continue to do with it. And they would think that it's a premature experiment to be done away with. It's premature to do away with the experiment, rather. And that being the case, they will continue with the baseball approach. But what is perhaps beginning to slightly get clearer is that, at least for now, based on all the test matches, that baseball is become a trend with the England team, is that it perhaps works better on flattish tracks, not on tracks where there's a little bit of help for the bowlers. I think that is something that is getting very clearer here, because we saw the baseball working really well on flat pitches at Edgbaston and Lords, and then Leeds, we didn't see that happening because it's a basic reflex action from the batters. If they see there's a little bit of help for the fast bowlers, especially, then I think the batters are not going to be really batting with carefree attitude. They're going to be a little bit circumspect than they would be on flatter tracks. So it looks like the baseball theory will work. Yes, it can work provided that everybody buys into the idea, including your opponents. If your opposition side is not going to really dance to the tune of baseball and try to step up along with England, I don't think that baseball theory is going to be working. But as long as the opposition also face fire with fire or face baseball with baseball, uh, it will work fine, and especially on flat tracks. As far as I'm concerned, it is the duty of the batter to ensure he protects his crease and he protects his wicket. Nobody else can do it for him if he is not if he's not careful enough, and if he's not really worried about losing his wicket if he doesn't do what he has to do. So that being the case, I think Bairstow should not have any complaints at all. And even after the way that he got out in the first innings, if you had noticed the first ball that he left in the second innings as well, he was almost walking out. It's become a habit with him, as far as one can see. So he needs to try and mend his ways and ensure that he retains his crease until such time that the ball is really dead, or until such time that he cannot be either stumped or run out by the fielders. As simple as that. Laws are there in cricket for everybody to adhere to, and the spirit of the game nonsense has been going on for too long. And it's also become a little bit tiresome because it's used only when it is convenient for people. Otherwise, it doesn't come into any kind of discussion. This spirit of the game thing is something that I think we can perhaps put a hold on, even to mention it, and then get on with the game. I think that's what matters. It's all about playing within the laws of the game, and if you play within the laws of the game, obviously, generally, you are playing within the spirit of the game as well. It's the start of a new cycle as far as every team is concerned, and hence India has obviously decided not to muck about at the start of the new cycle. They're gone to the full-fledged side. Yes, workload management is also something that has been paid heed to. But the fact of the matter is that at the start of a new cycle, you want to ensure that you do things in such a manner which will enable you to build a side as you go along. And if you start thinking along those lines, if you start thinking about what could perhaps be the right time to settle in on a WTC side 2 years later, then everything will fall into place. You should have that kind of vision. I think vision is very important, and clarity in order to achieve your objectives is also very important. But in a way, without wanting to really give people an impression that I'm running down West Indies cricket, as far as they are concerned now, they are not doing as well as they are expected to, and it's an unsettled unit as well. Perhaps one can even go to the extent of saying that they are really down for the simple reason that they failed to make it to the World Cup that's going to happen in a few months' time. So psychologically, they are down, and they have been sliding over a period of time on a more or less consistently enough. And that being the case, I think this is a series where it's a no-win situation in a way. If you come out of it and look at it in a detached manner, India is expected to obviously win the multi-format series, and if they lose, obviously they'll be criticized very heavily. And if they win, people are not really going to say that, oh, there's something great. So, along that front, I think it's a no win situation for India. The only thing this series would really sort of be useful for is to try and provide all the youngsters as many opportunities as possible, because it will give them a taste of international cricket, a feel of the pressure that they'll be subjected to in international cricket, and also it'll give them the confidence if they go on to do well against the West Indies. Let's not forget the fact that there are still quite a few brilliant individual cricketers in the team. It's just that the West Indies as a unit is not been doing well enough, producing results on a consistent basis. But there are some fantastic cricketers even now in their ranks, and that's the reason I say youngsters from India, if they're given opportunities in this series, they do well, they would really gain a lot of confidence. I think that is something which is really invaluable as far as some of the youngsters in the series is concerned, and as far as Indian cricket is concerned. It has to happen sometime. As to when it should happen is for the team management and for the captain to decide, and also they got to really zoom in on the succession plan for the captaincy role as well. Uh, let's understand one thing here. By merely saying that there's got to be a time when succession plans have to be put in place doesn't mean that I'm crying horse for the current senior cricketers to be dropped. But at the same time, we cannot also overlook the fact that we need to plan for the future. And planning for the future also means that you need to try and ease the youngsters into the side in a manner the transition is really smooth. So that is the key here. And Rahul Dravid has a challenge on his hands. He's got to get that going for the simple reason he needs to try and uh, decide on who the candidates who are going to be eased into the 11 and who are likely to replace the seniors when they obviously quit the stage. So it's not only a case of him assessing the cricketers and deciding on who it is that you would like to have come the next WTC final, but he also has to try and uh, sell the idea in a manner that is very convincing to the selection committee. You have a new chairman there in place, and it's critical that the team management and the selectors have frequent discussions, and they both the parties talk to each other frequently, and both of them work together in trying to go in the same direction. I think all of us should understand the fact that we cannot be really talking about Arjun Tendulkar merely because he happens to be the son of a legend. We need to also uh, allow him to play his cricket without unnecessarily putting him in the spotlight. He's a young kid and he's obviously working hard in his game, and he's looking to make a mark here on his own. And the more people focus, the more media focuses on him, just about for everything that is related to him, I think it's really going to put up a lot of pressure on him. It's also going to be misleading to the public because it's so easy to think it's a case of him getting into the South Zone side for other reasons than for his own ability. I don't think that should happen. I don't think that is the case. So that's the reason I would rather even request the media not to really be focusing all the time on Arjun Tendulkar. Let that young man play his cricket, enjoy his cricket, do as best as he can, and then make it big if possible in the future. success. At the end of the day, it's all about them having won that game, even though it was a low scoring game. It was a bit tight towards the end. But the point to focus on is the manner in which all the individuals approach every single game and achieve some sort of consistency in their approach, in their mindset, and also in the process that they follow individually and collectively. I think that's a very, very rational thought there. I would rather think it will even be better if they say that can be followed immediately after this 2023 World Cup. Because if you feel that the teams are better off playing the ODI bilateral series in the year of the World Cup, I think it's not a bad idea because it's going to be very difficult for public to watch three different formats in one particular series. And let's not also forget the fact that the public today do not have the time to spend so many days to go and watch cricket being played. And also, if they have a choice of seeing an exciting format vis-a-vis a format which can be predictable at times, you know where the public is going to be. And that is the reason why you would see a lot of people going and watching the T20 format because it's action-packed format and it's also lesser time frame. Whereas the ODI takes the entire day and it can be predictable at times, which can lead some people to believe it's a bit boring compared to the T20 format or a pulsating test match. So this is something that is a step in the right direction, I feel, and this is bound to happen sooner or later. The only thing is that, as I said at the start, uh, it would have been even better if they were to say this could be put into place after the 2023 World Cup. See, it's going to be a very tricky situation because when you have commerce playing a critical role in running a game, you'll also see that the principles will also have to be tweaked around a little bit to facilitate both commerce and sport traveling together and merging well enough and merging seamlessly. So, that being the case, I think. This is something that will always be contested by the franchisees, if not anybody else, because nowadays what is happening is that the same franchisee has picked up a team in different leagues across the world. So it becomes logistically and also in terms of strategically for a franchisee to have the services of, let's say, a few same players across the globe in all the leagues. So, if let's say, for example, if one franchisee uh, is going to really bank on 2, 3 Indian cricketers to do well for them and also be the main cogs in their wheel for them to win the leagues across the globe, I think the franchisees will try their best to have the services of those 3, 4 Indian cricketers. Then, obviously, they would try everything possible to ensure that they somehow convince, cajole, coax the BCCI to allow those players to represent them in all the leagues across the globe. So this is not the end of it. There'll be a lot of discussions back and forth as far as um, allowing the Indian players to play in different leagues across the world. I think this is not the end of it. This is just the start. And I see a lot of interesting developments happening very shortly. That's it for this week. Hope you enjoyed the topics we selected to discuss. And of course, like I always remind you people, if you are just joining us for the first time, subscribe to the channel, press the like button, and also give us your feedback as well. And for those of you who are not aware about the earlier episodes, log on to the handle of Sportstar and make it a point to watch the earlier episodes because there's a lot of good stuff that can be gleaned from them. And for those who've been with us all through from the start, thanks a lot for the support and the encouragement given all these days and weeks. And of course, keep giving us your valuable feedback so that we will be aware of we need to get better and where we need to focus and provide you with the kind of entertainment that you're looking for. So until I catch up with you next time, be good and stay safe.